Okay, yes, we are live for your Abu Dhabi FP3. The excitement is building for the decider in the desert. Will it be Max Verstappen? Will it be Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri that walks away with the World Drivers' Championship? Yesterday, thanks for everyone who joined me yesterday. It was an interesting session. Lando Norris was really fastest of all. Fairly convincingly actually. Max Verstappen said the car's okay, but they do need to find some pace, which the mechanics and the engineers will be working on the car last night. So that's what FP3 is all about. We're going to see some hot laps. We're going to see who has got that qualifying pace. And that's what it's all about. Abu Dhabi you can overtake, but qualifying is going to be vital. So we're going to be enjoying the qualifying together a little bit later, 1 o'clock GMT. But today, the build-up, the excitement, it's all there for the decider in the desert. But that's the thing. Qualifying is going to be key. If we see Max put that Red Bull on the front row, and we put Oscar, and we see Oscar putting the McLaren on the front row. But however, we haven't seen Oscar put any really quick laps in the McLaren yet. Lando's been pretty good. All drivers seem pretty relaxed. But it's going to come down to qualifying first lap, first corner. Anything can happen. People. I know it's Lando's to lose, but there is still this excitement because we've seen in the past the third place driver going into a three-way header in 2010, and the person in front. In that case, hey Mark, nice to have you. No work today, Mark. And in that case, it was Sebastian Vettel who was behind Fernando Alonso, and Vettel took the championship. So it does happen, It's great for the neutral. And I thought what was interesting. I'm glad, nice to have you in the chat, Mark. You're not in the broom cupboard today. You're not hiding at work in the cleaning cupboard, so you're able to watch. I love that. That was the funniest story. But all the drivers seemed pretty relaxed. They all had their driver meal last night, where in Abu Dhabi, the final Grand Prix of the season, all of the drivers go out and have a meal together. Apparently, Lewis Hamilton ordered everything on the menu, and Pierre Gasly had to pick up the bill. I'm unsure how they decide who picks up the bill, but it was Pierre Gasly's turn this year, and apparently Lewis Hamilton just literally ordered everything on the menu. I think all drivers were in attendance. But yeah, that's what they did last night. They all went out for food. I wonder if anyone was putting laxatives in Max Verstappen's drink. Trying to sabotage his day today. Maybe the McLaren boys, who knows? Mark says he got locked in overnight. That's why he's late. If you are watching the channel for the first time, please subscribe. Do smash a like on the video if you're enjoying it, and hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date. Hey Shaitan, nice to have you with us, my friend. Hope you're excited for FP3. It's the first time this weekend where I think we're really going to see race pace. Qualifying pace. Out on the softs. Let's see some hot laps. Let's see whether Oscar Piastri has got the pace over Norris, because that's what we need to see. If Oscar Piastri wants to stay in this fight, I think we need to see in FP3 that Piastri can be quicker than Norris, just like we saw in Qatar. If we don't see that, I think we're going to be relying on some sort of instant in the race for Piastri to have a chance of actually winning the World Drivers' Championship. But that's really what I'm hoping to see to keep the excitement alive in FP3 and for qualifying. I'd like to see Piastri show some hot lap pace over Norris so we can get excited about qualifying. Shaitan says Formula E always gave us good racing. We start off the season at Sao Paulo. Formula E, Shaitan. No, come on. We don't. Shaitan, listen, I'm not knocking you for being a Formula E racing fan, but come on. We're against electrification here in Formula One. You might as well. Do you know what? I tell you what does give good racing. Touring cars. I think the touring cars is good racing. Shaitan says, look at my previous message. Huh? I look forward to F1 and Formula E this weekend. Oh, gosh, Shaitan. I'm glad you said F1. Formula E. Honestly, it's killing the world, this battery electrification stuff. We don't want it. Let's go back to V8s. Maybe even V10s. Just design better fuel so the greenies can be quite happy with it. Look, I'm all about saving the world. I agree. We want to save the world, but not at the expense of my naturally aspirated V8s and V10s. Come on. What next? Have you seen the driverless racing where they build a car fully automated, done on software? They're just racing on software, no drivers, and it's just literally send out your pre-programmed cars to race. Oh my god, that's what it's coming to. We won't have drivers anymore. We'll just have these amazing pieces of kit driving themselves around the track. Who can build the fastest car? Drones is what we're talking about. We're talking about automotive drones. We don't want that. Although I did used to race RC cars and I loved it because I couldn't afford to go karting. So, but my parents did get me a radio controlled car. I was 7 and I raced. I raced RC cars in my childhood, and I actually ended up representing Great Britain in the Euros. I was actually quite good at it. But obviously, I would have loved to have been driving go-karts. We just couldn't afford it. It's a very expensive game, go-kart racing. But that's the pathway, isn't it, into motorsport? But who knows? Maybe F1 Grandstand will get big enough internationally, and we can make enough money, and we can have our own racing team. And then we can have a big competition to see which drivers out of the subscribers could race for the team. How about that? That would be cool. We've got big dreams here, F1 Grandstand, big dreams. So make sure you like the video, share the video, get everyone here, get everyone onto the channel. We want to be the biggest Formula One fan channel in the world. That's what we want. That's our goal. Very honest about it. Let's see if we can achieve it. But yeah, Shaitan says, honestly, I wouldn't have watched Formula E if they didn't have those ex-F1 drivers that I know competing there. Which F1 drivers are in Formula E now, Shaitan? Hey, Trevor. Yes, Trevor, my type of guy. Big engines and touring cars. Yes, Trevor. Touring cars is good racing. It is. Touring cars is good racing. But yeah, big engines, baby. And you know what? I did a video on this. It's called V8 Engines Are Back. I don't know how far back it is on the video list on the channel, but it was really interesting because Toto Wolff was saying that the consensus on the grid is that by 2031, we're going to roll back to V8s naturally aspirated with sustainable fuels. Most team owners and principals agree that's the sweet spot for Formula One. And I'm here for it. And FIA said, okay, well, if we do that, if we roll back to V8s naturally aspirated, we could do that as early as 2029. But Toto Wolff said, we don't want to do that because we put all the money into this electrification area. We need the full 5-year regulation cycle. But the general consensus is, and this is great for F1 fans, it just seems so long away, that they're going to roll back to V8s naturally aspirated with sustainable fuels. What do you think about that? I'm here for it. I hope Toto's right. I'm sure Trevor will love that one because I definitely do. So Buemi, Jean-Eric Vernier, Degrassi. Is Degrassi in Formula E? Yes, Mark, we're doing it. We're doing it for the community. Let's get this. This is the best F1 fan channel in the world. That's the plan. Do you know what though? It's been quite interesting. We've been doing a bit. The first video I did was on July the 18th this year. So we've done sort of that was the first video, and we've grown to nearly 4,000 subscribers in such a short space of time. So I'm hopeful by the end of next year. You know what? Imagine if we can add a 0 to that. Imagine if we could get to say 40,000. The dream, right? The dream. But it takes all of us to help make that happen. But yeah, I've got big plans. I want to keep delivering content that you guys enjoy. I want to keep expanding as well. I'd love to get to the place where we could get some sort of access. Very difficult to get access in F1. I do know a few people. We get some good stories from people, and we get off the record stuff. But actually, the problem is with this channel is I'm always going to sort of tell the truth, right? I'm not mainstream media, which are going to, you know, they've got to follow a narrative. They don't upset anybody. If you look at my Ferrari videos, I'm pretty sure that John Elkann is never going to invite me to Maranello because I'm just telling the truth. But when he was saying about, you know, the Ferrari drivers should shut up and drive and the engineers are doing this great job, we have to tell our version of the truth, right? So yeah, I don't think there's going to be many F1 teams that will invite me into their garage, but who knows? I'm very nice about Adrian Newey and Aston Martin, so maybe Aston Martin will let me in. And that's me telling the truth. I do think Adrian Newey's the GOAT. You know, I do think he's literally the GOAT, the most valuable person in Formula One. So maybe Aston Martin will invite me in one day. Who knows? Oh, so Pascal's in there. Buemi, Di Grassi have all been Formula E since season 1. Really? They've been there since 2014. And 3 Formula E champions. You've got Buemo, Di Grassi, Vernier. Wow. Max Flashart. That is quite possibly the coolest name, by the way. That's quite possibly one of the coolest names I've seen. Elkann is upset having to pay all that tax. I think Elkann's upset. Do you know what with Elkann? Do you know how rich John Elkann is? Chairman of Ferrari. I was doing some digging on this. Multiple billions. He's got family money. Hey, Max, I love that. Coolest name. Great taste. Glad you are with us. Yeah, but John Elkann has got multiple billions. And Piero Ferrari, who's Enzo's son. Now, the interesting thing about Piero Ferrari, we all know about Dino, the sad story about Enzo's son Dino, who unfortunately passed away really early from, I can't remember the disease, but he was very young. He was like 24 or 25. But now Piero Ferrari, which is Enzo's son, and he looks just like him, by the way, looks just like Enzo, was actually Enzo's illegitimate son from his mistress that he denied for many years. And then the nice story is they got their relationship back together. And when Enzo passed away, he left Piero Ferrari his 10% share holding in Ferrari. And now Piero Ferrari's vice president of Ferrari under John Elkann. But John Elkann is the majority shareholder in Ferrari. Multiple billions he's got. Multiple billions. But anyway, yeah, the point is, Ferrari are never going to do me any favors, I don't think, because we're always going to tell our truthful opinion, right? And that's what we do. I'm so glad you're with us, Max. Brilliant. Because what we got today, we're going to be, this is FP1, so FP3, sorry. So what I'm hoping to find out here is race pace. Yes, Brian Nash in the chats. Oh, brilliant. I'm so glad you're up in the chat there, Brian. Well, you're so very, very welcome. So very, very welcome. Yeah, well, I'm always gonna say, like, when I talk about 2021, for instance, I know Lewis was robbed. I know the FIA made decisions that are just freaking outrageous. To allow those 5 back markers to unlap themselves in front of Max and Lewis when Max is on fresh tyres was outrageous. Outrageous. I mean, he was robbed and we all saw it and there's nothing we could do about it. But that's not the first time that the FIA did that. You can go all the way back to 1984 at Monaco when Ayrton Senna's in the Tolman taking 4 seconds a lap out of Alain Prost, who's in P1. Senna's in a Tolman in his first season in F1. Outrageously quick. And what does Ballesteri do, who's French? He gets the race stopped. So Alain Prost can get the points. And then Suzuka, to allow Prost to win the championship, he gets Senna disqualified. I mean, outrageous stuff has gone on with the governance of this sport. And it needs calling out when it needs calling out. So we, as fans, I think we have what I love about YouTube is we have the opportunity to really talk about our actual opinion. It's not like working for Sky Sports F1 where, you know, you're being told what you can and can't say. We can say anything. And as long as we can validate our opinions and say why we think what we think, we're also open to having our opinion changed, because if somebody else out there goes, well, actually, did you know about this? Did you know about this? And that's what's great about having a community. They can bring evidence and validations that makes us go, actually, that's better than mine. I agree. And we can change our minds, because a wise man once said that an idiot is married to his beliefs. A clever man is always open to have his beliefs changed, because we have to react to new information. And that's what's great about community. And I love it. Hey, Sioko, he's in the chat. Lovely to have you with us. Are you a Max fan, are you? Oh, you're saying hello to Max Flashart. Why Max? What about the rest of us? Hey, okay. Yeah, you can tell because you're here. Yeah, he's not biased. I love that. But that's the point. I just want to always try and, if you watch my, here's the other thing. I did a video yesterday about the new relationship with Haas and Toyota, the developing relationship with Haas and Toyota. And everyone's saying about, well, Haas F1's going to now be known as TGR, Toyota Gazoo Racing Haas F1. So Toyota are slowly edging back into Formula One. Akio Toyota, the chairman of Toyota, is so delighted about the developing relationship with Haas, because they're supporting Haas's TPC program, which is the testing previous cars program. And what they're doing is they're creating a pathway for Japanese drivers. Now, that's all fine. But what no one's talking about is, what are they spending that Toyota money on? Toyota are funding Haas a driver in-loop simulator. Now, that's a real-world data driver simulator, so they can test current setups of cars with current data. Now, here's the interesting thing from Toyota. Toyota aren't developing a power unit or even becoming a works team, because what they're doing is they're giving Haas a driver in-loop simulator at their facility where Toyota can collect all that data. Now, what data are they collecting? Yes, the Haas car, but hang on a minute. The Haas car runs a Ferrari engine, a Ferrari gearbox, 80% of the Ferrari parts. So what Toyota are basically doing is pickpocketing Ferrari through the back door, collecting all the data from the power unit, the gearbox, suspension, and every other part that Haas are using. So that way they've got this shortcut into developing their own power unit for 2028. I mean, it's crazy. And everyone's just talking about, oh, isn't this great? But if I was Ferrari, after that special relationship that I've got with Haas, where we're supplying them with literally everything we can supply them, I'd be going, hang on a minute. All of our data with our relationships now going to Toyota, one of the largest manufacturers in the world, who want a works team. I mean, it's crazy. It's very funny, but no one's talking about it, but we talk about it. So yeah, and we even provide the receipts. So yeah, it's going to be a good one today. I'm excited. The decider, and do you know what as well? If there is any FIA fettling interference, with penalties or allowing cars to, safety cars, situations where the FIA can falsely create a narrative that they want to create, then it can't happen. Because if the FIA say want Max to win for the drama, and they interfere with penalties or yellow flags, I mean, it could all happen. It could all happen. Yeah, so Shitan says that would be insane if Toyota engine power does come back, but nothing is impossible. I think we'll see a Toyota power unit in 2028 in the Haas. I think the Haas will become a works Toyota team. And I think because they've got this deal with Ferrari till 28, it allows Toyota to spend the next 2 years collecting data and developing in secret in their shed, in their Skunk Works facility, their new car. And in 2028, and their power unit, I think 2028 they'll have a power unit. Shitan says, especially Audi now coming back, and then Ford is back after 20 years. The Audi power unit is going to be a strong power unit, no doubt about it. Oh, did you like that? I'm glad you liked that video, Mark, the Toyota Haas video. Yeah, I mean, that's what I think's happening. I think 2020, just like Cadillac, don't forget, will have their power unit by 2028, and they're running the Ferrari engine that, for the next couple of years. I think Toyota are going to do the same thing. And I think Ferrari won't be. And here's the big question mark is, I don't know whether Ferrari's power unit in 26 is actually going to be any good. None of us do. They lost their lead power unit designer who's designed the 26 power unit, Zimmerman, who's gone over to Audi. Why would he leave, right? This is what I don't understand. If you're Leonardo da Vinci creating the Mona Lisa or your masterpiece, and before it's ready to be seen by the world, you go, nah, I'm going to go and do something else. Like, that's literally what Zimmerman's done. He's left that power unit and Ferrari to go over to Audi without even seeing that engine in a car on track being brilliant. And in 26, the power unit is going to be so vital to the success of every team. We've gone as a ground effect era of aerodynamics. Obviously, aero plays a massive part, but the power unit's going to be the differentiator. So Max is saying Yuki win. I tell you what, actually, Max, on that, what I'm interested in is how Yuki can affect the race. Now, what they're saying is they want Yuki potentially to go out on the hard tyre, do a long stint. Then if, say, Lando and Piastri are on the medium tyre, they'll obviously pit before Yuki. Yuki stays out on track, gains track position. And then when Piastri, or Norris really, comes out of the pits, Yuki should have track position and be able to do what Sergio Perez did in 21 to Lewis Hamilton and try and hold those guys up and play the team part. So that's what I think they want from Yuki. But if you're Yuki, would you do it after losing your drive? Or would you be like, no, I'm racing for me today. My last race in F1 for a while. No, but he is the reserve driver next year, isn't he? So I think he will follow team protocol and team orders. Yeah, so Shitan says, man, it'd be great if we have two engine manufacturers, Honda and Toyota, on the F1 grid at the same time. I mean, I agree. I think about having Toyota and Honda on the grid at the same time, it will push both engine manufacturers to new levels. And you know, Honda, it's hard to look past Honda as one of the greatest engine manufacturers of all time. Yeah. Sioko says that'd be awesome. I don't know if they're good with engines though. I think Toyota, if they're going to come back, I think that's why they're cleverly doing it step by step, because I think they know that if they can get a shortcut or any help from all the data they can collect from the Ferrari 26 power unit over the next 2 years, because don't forget that regulation is going to be the same for 5 years. They're going to be the same power units. It allows Toyota to collect all that Ferrari data for 2 years and then bring their power unit. It's a bit of a shortcut. Shishan says probably do the method like they did with exactly Perez and Hamilton back in 2021. Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what I'm saying. They want Yuki to stay out on the hard tyre. That's if they don't do that, I'll be very, very surprised. But yeah, Yuki out on the hard tyre, get track position, try and hold up the McLarens. I think that's what they're going to do. Max says, to be fair, Yuki would take out the other cars without even asking. Like a bowling ball, lap 1, turn 1. I mean, I think they do need Yuki to qualify quite well. So Yuki, yeah, one stop for Yuki. Yeah, I mean, Yuki's race is only going to be about staying out as long as he can on the hard tyre and then holding up the McLarens as much as he can in that middle stint. But if you Max says Honda had to work with Honda Jet on the turbo design to get to the top. How long ago was that, Max? Because I actually think Toyota as a company's probably moved on as well. I think there's this rivalry between Toyota and Honda which could be interesting. Shitan says, but if Yuki somehow gets a seat in another series in IndyCar, I'll take it. I don't think it's the last we've seen of Yuki. I mean, I hope Yuki will have a great race. Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's an interesting point, Max. More likely Hadjar and Lawson could hold up McLaren. That is interesting. Could Racing Bulls play a part in the result of this Grand Prix? I would say yes. I would say Lawson owes Red Bull for giving him the drive, right? But I do, going back to Yuki. So Shitan says, Oh yeah, this is what I was just about to talk about. I hope Yuki gets at least an F1 seat somewhere after sitting out the grid for a year in 27. I like what Albon did when he took a year on the sideline when he came back with Williams in 22. Exactly, it's not over for Yuki. I'll tell you this right now. I'm going to tell you what my prediction is for Yuki, even more so. This is my prediction for Yuki. Yuki goes on the sidelines. He's in the Red Bull reserve seat. He has an opportunity. There are 4 seats there in the Racing Bulls and Red Bull where he could step in at any point during next year. Hadjar, let's say it doesn't work out for Hadjar and he gets demoted into, and he goes back to Racing Bulls. And Lawson's not that great, or Lindblad's not that great. One of those could get demoted to the reserve seat and Yuki could get promoted into the Red Bull or the Racing Bulls. So I don't think it's over for Yuki even next year. But for 27, here's what I think. I think Toyota come back in a bigger way, as they are doing. I think Haas loses Ollie Behrman to Ferrari. Esteban Ocon, his future's not nailed on. There could be 2 seats at Haas available in 27. Aston Martin. We don't know what's going to go on there. We don't know if Lance Stroll's going to have a tantrum and give up Formula One. We don't know if Fernando Alonso is going to leave Formula One at the end of next year, maybe even with the World Drivers' Championship. Who knows? But there could be a seat at Aston Martin with the Honda connection. I do not think it's over for Yuki. I don't. I just think he's having to get on the back foot for a year. And I think all that testing he's going to do for the new car and the new regulations could mean that Yuki could come back in 27 stronger, better than ever. That's what I think. Honestly, that's what I think. Yeah, or you see, and Lindblad, Yoko, is still a question mark, isn't he? We don't know. He hasn't set the world on fire. He had a great start in F2. He's done some good FP1s. But the second half of the season, he hasn't won the championship. What is he, 6th in F2? And you got Furanolo, if I say that right, Leonardo, who's won F2, who hasn't even got a drive in F1 for 26. I don't think there's a guarantee. I mean, Leonardo, who's just won F2, is now a McLaren driver, but he's not on the grid. So we don't know. Arvid Lindblad's still a question mark. Max says Yuki's critical if Max leaves if the RB22 is rubbish. Exactly, and Max will leave if it's rubbish. 100% he will, because his contract says that there's performance clauses that if the team can't give him a car, then he can go. Yoko says, I think Lando will win the CS though. Yeah. Normally I'm optimistic, but it's a bit of a stretch even for Max, but it's okay. Whoever does well deserves to win. Do you know what I want? I want to be excited about this Grand Prix. I want there to be close racing, and as long as it's mathematically possible, even with, because you know we've seen Lando's McLaren have what was it, Zandvoort mechanical failure, lap 65 or something. Yeah, so Max said Arvid is rapid but makes huge mistakes. The thing about mistakes is they can be a little bit of experience. They can make less mistakes. You can't really teach speed. So Lindblad is rapid over a lap, but racecraft is so important in F1. And that requires a level of maturity, doesn't it? A level of maturity that we may see with Arvid. We may. And he is going to get measured against Lawson next year. And Lawson's going to get measured as well, because if Lawson doesn't have a strong season next year, I think it's his last chance. And I also think that Lawson's got Yuki waiting behind him if Lawson doesn't perform. Lawson, you know, they gave him, what was it, 2 or 3 races in the Red Bull. Next year, how many races did they give him in the Racing Bulls? If Lindblad's quicker than him, before they go, sorry, Lawson, you're now our reserve driver, and Yuki's back in. I could see it happening. I could see it happening. Yeah, so Lando should win, but I have to say that for the last 2 races, it hasn't happened. Well, Piastri was epic, I think, in Qatar. Dominant all weekend. Fastest in practice. Fastest in the sprint. I'm fastest on race in the Grand Prix. Yet the team let him down in a massive way. Good question, Max. How old are the PUs in Lando's and Max and Oscar's car? I don't know. If anyone in the chat knows, get in the chat and tell me. How old are the engines in Lando's and Oscar's car for this race? I don't know. It's a very good question. I'm not sure. Yoka says, Max, too early to judge about Arvid for me. It's better that he's fast and just needs to tone down a bit of lack of pace. Yeah, I agree. Max says, Lawson has outscored Hadjar 34-30 since Australia. Exactly. And you know what? And since Baku, Lawson has beat Hadjar in 7 Grand Prix, and Hadjar's only beat Lawson in 6. So effectively, Lawson's one up for the second half of the season. So Lawson has shown some great mental resilience to come back from being dropped from Red Bull and to come back and be competitive with Hadjar, who we all agree, I think we all agree, is rookie of the season. I mean, he got his just desserts. He got his rewards by being promoted to the Red Bull team. So, yeah, Lawson has narrowed that gap down. I just think with Lawson, he's just got that kind of that crazy moment in him, hasn't he? Where he can make contact with a car. He goes for a gap. He's aggressive, but you need that in a driver. We don't want to be we don't want drivers not to go for a gap. Like Senna said, is a driver even a driver if he doesn't go for the gap? Like, he has to go for the gap. And you're right. So what Shaitan's talking about here is he's talking about rookie errors. Problem with Lawson is he did throw away quite a few number of good points when starting from decent positions. Yeah, he has a mistake in him, doesn't he? Now, most rookies do. Over the course of a season or two, they improve. And that's what they'll be looking for with Lawson next season, is he needs to choose his aggressive moments more wisely. He needs to evaluate and make better choices on track. And that comes with painful mistakes. He's had a few of those. So maybe we're going to see Lawson, because I think Lawson's actually got the ability to be a competitor. I do. But like we said, it's those rookie errors, right? We've got to just get rid of those rookie errors. What, have I missed something? Oh, Shaitan, I could see Yuki go to Haas or Aston or possibly Alpine in 27. I agree. I think watch the Haas space. I think Haas is at the moment, Yuki's most likely destination for 27. That's what I think. I do. I think I could see Yuki in a Haas. I do think that. So Max says rookie mistakes, but most of the issues are not rookie mistakes, but unfortunate mistakes. Gasly and Yuki make it happen. To Alpine, you'd like to see him in an Alpine. Cola Pinto. I mean, I think he's the luckiest guy on the grid. I'm not sure he's done enough to really be. Is he deserving of that drive? I just know that, and Flavio Briatore has been quite honest about it. Cola Pinto brings a fan base to the team. He brings a South American fan base, and he brings a lot of money to the team. And so he's got next year to prove me wrong. He has. He's got next year to prove me wrong. I was just going to say as well, speaking of Haas, Ollie Behrman said the Haas is brilliant at the moment. He said he loves the way the car's handling, and he is very confident about today. So I'm interested to see how he does in FP3. So Max, you actually like Franco, dear, but you prefer Yuki in the Alpine. Sioka says, all I know is that they've reached their limit of engines. Lando got his last engine after the mechanic failed in Zandvoort. I don't know if Oscar's had a new one after Baku crash. Really? So what we all know is that Max does have a far newer power unit then, because of that change where he started from the pit lane. Interesting. Could that come into play? I mean, the Mercedes engine's a good engine, isn't it? Yeah, that's interesting. So we could, so the possibility of a technical failure for Lando this weekend, well, the odds are increased then, aren't they? You know, could you imagine? Oh my God. Could you imagine an engine failure for Lando Norris? Ah, the drama. The drama. I'm here for it. So Shitan says Aston Martin will be depending on what happens with either Alonso or Stroll. But hopefully Aston Martin build really competitive cars from 26 onwards. I think the car's going to be good. I think the driver lineup's in... You know, we know that Aston Martin have already contacted Nicholas Todd, who is Charles Leclerc's manager, who's Jean Todd's son, ex-principal at Ferrari. That we already know that Aston Martin have basically laid a contract offer for Charles Leclerc for 27. So who do we think, if that's the case? I think Fernando. I think even Fernando's probably had private conversations with Newey, and I think he knows it's his last season. I think he'd like to go out on a bang. I think he'd like to go out with the World Drivers' Championship. The big question for me is like Lance Stroll. Does Lance Stroll just go, I'm sick of this? Throw his toys out the pram and go, I'm sick of this. You know, like a spoilt brat. And leave. I mean, I don't know. I think Lawrence Stroll, as a father, who's put all of his time, effort, and money into building a Formula One team and assembling like the Avengers version of senior management with Newey, Cardeal, Cowell now on the engines. They've just brought in a new COO, haven't they? From Red Bull. I mean, they're assembling this like Avengers-like senior management leadership team. Does Lance Stroll, if he's not quick and he gets all of the abuse you could ever imagine, doesn't he, Lance Stroll? He gets so much abuse. Does he just go, by the end of next season, I'm done? I mean, he could do. Sasha, welcome to the chat, my friend. I'm so glad you are with us for FP3. Brilliant to have you with us live. I love it. Friendly bunch in our chat. So if you are watching, if you've not got in the chat, say hello. Tell us where you're watching from. Sasha said, that's why I love this channel. You're not afraid to speak the truth. So many channels are afraid to admit what really happened in 2021. Yeah, it was robbery. I don't know how anyone can see it any different. It was robbery. Yes, Lyjan. Joining us just in time for FP3. Good lad. And Sasha, by the way, you should look at some of Sasha's comments on some of the videos. Brilliant analysis. Rubbery. Max says rubbery. Literally. Yeah. Max Verstappen getting on fresh rubber. Ah, it was definitely daylight rubbery. Yeah. So Sonoda's got plenty of options available. I agree, Shitan. It's not the end. I know the thing is with Yuki, you can't not like him, can you, as a person? I like Yuki. So yeah, it's definitely not over for him. And that, like Max says, the fact that he's still in the paddock and everyone knows the RB21 is not a sign of true pace. And if you look at people like, you know, Shitan and everyone else who's mentioned it, you know, Alexander Albon became the reserve driver at Red Bull. He's on the grid. He's at Williams. Secured a drive for 26. You know? And he's not the only one. Look at Valtteri Bottas this year, the reserve driver at Mercedes, got a drive for Cadillac next year. So it's not over. I think the key thing about any drive is if you can stay within touching distance. If you're a reserve driver, the best reserve driver role, by the way, is definitely within the Red Bull family, because there's 4 seats if people don't perform that you could effectively step into. Yes, Max. Perez, Checo is back. And I think he's been vindicated a lot as well from his final season in the Red Bull. Shitan says Newey had always wanted to work with Alonso. Thus, Alonso have a lot of trust in Newey, so they'll have a deep conversation about it and find an agreement. And the thing is about Newey is he gives the drivers due credit, not just for driving, but for developing the car. Newey said one of his greatest resources in designing the car is driver feedback, which is the exact opposite of what John Elkann was saying to his drivers, where he was telling them to shut up. No, Lewis, don't be giving us your dossier of improvements that are needed to be made in the team. No, Lewis. Whereas where Newey's like, yes, Fernando, tell me everything. How does the car feel? Give me all of your feedback. And he then takes that feedback and puts it into engineering solutions and principles. And that's the difference between someone like Newey and someone like, John Elkann running things over at Ferrari. That feedback that and having a driver like Alonso giving that feedback for the 26 car, it's that, but it's knowing how to take the driver feedback and turn it into engineering solutions. It's been able to understand the, and it's like being able to sort of be the interface between driver language and engineer language. And Newey can do that. He can be the interface and go, I understand what you're telling me there by you're talking about feel. I now understand what that means with regards to the engineering solutions and how to make that better. And if you haven't got that, well, then you get these responses like John Elkann telling the drivers to shut up. We're the engineers. Yeah, but you can engineer a car all you like, but if you don't understand how to listen to a driver, trust the driver's feedback, then how do you engineer a car that's going to win? And Newey gets it. Newey gets it. Imagine Newey had science. It'd be so helpful for the team. Like, yeah. But that's the thing about science. Like, science is another driver who knows how to give good feedback. If you listen to JV over at Williams, at James Voles, he said that if you look at where Sainz started the season off to where he is now, that's because they've managed to develop a feedback loop between Carlos Sainz and Voles, who is actually an engineer leading the engine, and not just a team principal, leading the engineering of the Williams team. And they found that feedback loop to be brilliant. If you are a team principal who says, shut up and drive, and you shut that feedback loop down, you're never going to build a car. Now, the interesting thing is, I also think you've got feedback loops like at Red Bull with Max Verstappen and their engineers, with Horner originally, who's not an engineer, but he did back Max 100%, but Newey was there. So Max was giving a feedback loop to Newey. Now he's giving a feedback loop to the engineers under Laurent McKees. And Red Bull still follow that feedback loop to the end and give Max what he wants. The problem with that feedback loop is that they don't listen to the other driver. They don't listen to the second driver, and the driver doesn't get a look in. It's Max's feedback only that matters, and that's why they build cars where Max can get the best out of them. But as we can see, it's been a bit of a graveyard for everybody else. But that feedback loop is vital. Shitan said the car could be driven by conventional drivers. Exactly. You should get feedback from the drivers, because simulators and wind tunnels don't tell everything. No, you're dealing with digital data. It's not the same. Right, Mark, you're going to be back. You don't miss qualifying, Mark, whatever you do. Qualifying is going to be everything. That's 1 o'clock today. Qualifying. Don't miss it, Mark. It's going to get very exciting. We'll see you then. Rihanna is your race engineer. Shaitan, but why Newey? But Newey also wants to work with Alonso is because he knows what kind of performance Alonso can extract from the car. Yeah, exactly. He's getting and he's getting one of the most adaptable drivers in the F1 grid. I agree. Alonso is an adaptable driver because his history in Formula 1 means that he's driven. When you've got a driver who doesn't say this is my driving style, that's it. And you've got someone with Alonso's experience, he will adapt as much as he can to extrapolate the best out of the car. Yes, Yoko. Like if you like this stream, 100%. If you are watching for the first time, don't be shy. Get in the chat. Say where you're watching from. So very grateful to all of you joining us for the live stream. Also, smash a like on the video and subscribe, by the way. If you haven't subscribed yet, it makes a massive difference to the success of the channel. And there's a little notification bell as well. If you hit that, you will keep up to date with all of the content from the live streams, the watch-alongs, plus all of the breaking news stories as well. So please do all of that for us. That's very much appreciated. And Chitan says Perez feedback was strong as well, but unfortunately his teammate is Max, and Red Bull will only follow most of the feedbacks from the number one driver. Yeah, and that's a mistake. It's a mistake to just follow one driver. Perez is good. He was good in a Sauber and Force India. Do you remember? I mean, it got him the drive at Red Bull. He was outstanding where he literally came from the back of the grid to win the race. In, where was it? Was it? I want to say it was in the Middle East. I can't remember. Correct me. But Perez is quick. Checo's a good driver. You only have to look in 21 when you look at what Perez did to hold Hamilton behind him. You know, in Abu Dhabi. It was incredible. Perez, and that was on old tyres. Yeah. It was incredible. Perez, don't rule that. Like, honestly, the Cadillac pairing of Bottas and Perez is exactly what Cadillac need for their first season in Formula One. They need the feedback loop from two good drivers who can give them the feedback to develop the car. It's all about developing the car for Cadillac next year. So they're not. If Cadillac don't finish dead last, it's an achievement. And I know Cadillac won't want to finish dead last. They want to win, but we have to be realistic about that winning target. And the fastest way to winning is developing the car. Great feedback from drivers is going to do that. So it was a clever move. Securing Bottas and Checo was the right move. Absolutely the right move. Yeah, Hulkenberg was supposed to get that Red Bull seat in 21. Was he? Hulkenberg's been an interesting driver, hasn't he? Managed to keep this is his 250th Grand Prix. Got his first podium at Silverstone this year in the Sauber, finishing P3, which was incredible, by the way. Everyone was delighted for him. But he has to be one of the longest serving drivers that's managed to stay on the grid, which is no mean feat, and not had any podiums or race wins. Because I remember when Hulkenberg first hit the scene, everyone was saying, "Oh, Hulkenberg's the next Schumacher." He was incredibly quick, and then everyone started saying he was difficult to work with. I don't know. I mean, maybe he was. I don't know. But if he was difficult to work with, how would he have stayed on the grid for 250 Grand Prix? That's 14 years. He stayed in Formula One without a race win. I mean, that's an incredible stat. So Max says, yeah, after saving the team, P10's a win. Yeah. Cadillac have the two former great number two drivers from the top two teams. It's crucial off their experience to start off their F1. 100%. Graham Loden's done that. He made the right choices, because I know there's this pressure to have an all-American team. And don't get me wrong, it will be an all-American team by 2028. I'm sure of it. You know, they'll have a Cadillac power unit. It'll just be a Cadillac team. All the Ferrari parts will go. They'll have. I think maybe Jack Crawford will be their American driver. They may be their other driver might not be American, but they will be an American team competing. And the fastest way to get there is to, you know, get good data to develop the engine, to develop the car. You know, Cadillac will be doing the same thing. They'll be getting as much data from that Ferrari engine as much as they can in order to develop their own power unit. I don't think Hulkenberg is F1 World Champion material, but he would be quite a good pickup for a number two driver for any top team. True. I think Hulkenberg, he's still, I mean, how old is Hulkenberg now? About 32. Makes him young, doesn't he? He's got another 10 years of racing, possibly, if you're looking for Fernando Alonso. Hulk is one of the other drivers in F1 grid who is Mr. Consistent in the midfield. Yeah. Air ride. Do you remember the Williams active suspension? I mean, that was a crazy bit of engineering, wasn't it? I agree, Yoko. Hulk hasn't got a decent car. Hasn't. He's sort of languished in that midfield or even lower mid teams. But now the Audi coming into F1, they're a works team. I think that they've got a chance of building a really good car within 2 years. I do. Now you're talking about my guy, Pierre Gasly. I think Pierre Gasly is probably the most underrated driver on the grid right now. I do. I think he's underrated. I think Gasly this year, to get the points he's got out of the Alpine, has been quite remarkable. And his qualifying positions, I mean, he's managed to get performance out of the Alpine, which really isn't there. Don't forget, the Alpine have had no development on this 25 car since probably round 6. They had to make the decision, do they develop the 26 car or do they help improve the 25 car? And they went, nah, no more on the 25 car, all on the 26 car. And Gasly's just had to put up with it. Yeah, Max, I know. Gasly got lumbered with the bill last night for the driver's dinner. Yeah, I bet it was dear. Max Gasly's doing okay considering the bad car. Yeah, I honestly think Gasly's the most underrated driver on the grid. I do. I think Gasly's better than people think. Yeah, according to Lawson and Pierre, the dinner was expensive because they also said that Lewis Hamilton ordered everything on the menu. Literally ordered everything on the menu, which I think is funny. Yeah, Hulkenberg and Perez were in the same situation together back then until Perez got that Red Bull seat in 2021. Yeah. So it was between the two of them and Perez got it. Yeah, this is what... Do you know what, Max? This is the point about F1 Grandstand. I wanted to create a place where everyone can hang out. You know, where if you love the sport, whether you've watched the F1 film and now you want to get into it, or whether you're somebody who's followed the sport since the 80s, it's a place, a community where people can like share ideas, learn a bit, and just hang out and just chat about Formula One. Because if you've got a friendship circle that don't like it, you know, you need a place where you can come and hang out. Do you know what, Shaitan? Speaking of driver market, you wait till the end of 26. The driver market is going to be crazy going into 2027 because everyone's contracts are sort of up at the end of next year. You know, you've got Behrman, Ocon, and Esteban Ocon at Haas. Their contracts end of the year. Even contracts like George Russell, Kimi Antonelli. They're on a 1 year plus, depending on performance related. I mean, George can extend his contract by a year if he hits certain performance targets next year. Even Hamilton is on a multi-year deal, but they've all got these clauses which are performance related where they can change driver lineups, but either because the driver wants to leave or because the team wants to leave. Max, if that RB26 is crap, he's going to leave. Charles Leclerc's not going to stay at Ferrari another year. He's getting to that age now where it's like now or never. He's definitely quick enough to win a title. He wants to do it in a Ferrari, but if Ferrari can't give him a car to do it in, he will move. He will move, and you know, it's the end of next year is going to be crazy in the driver market. Yeah, Max says the virtual garage sport place, but with less mess at the end of the night. Exactly. And you can have a beer while you're working if you want. Yeah, so Pierre Watch only has to make a good car. So Who's Pierre? Oh, sorry. And then there was a rumour of Magnussen to Red Bull back then, because Magnussen started off his F1 career on such an absolute high, and then his hype has gone downhill for him. Magnussen, didn't Magnussen go to Haas? Yeah, he did. When Magnussen was driving for Haas under Gunther Steiner, he was actually pretty impressive. I mean, where's Magnussen now? I'm going to find out. Kevin Magnussen. Let's see where he is. Let's find out. Oh, he's in the Endurance Championship for 25 for BMW. Yeah. Yeah. So, it's a shame because how old is he? Sorry, I'm just on Wikipedia. I'm just trying to see how old he is. I liked Kevin Magnussen. How old is he now? He's only 33. Yeah, Kevin Magnussen. Yeah, I just went onto Wikipedia to check. Yeah, so he's driving for BMW. Brilliant. Nice one, Max. I will definitely see you. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, okay. Max Hadjar has a bit of the driving style of Max. He said that he always watches Max's onboard. Really? See, I think Max and Hadjar do have a similar driving style. I do. And I think that's going to help. Oh, I think that's going to help Isaac potentially succeed. That's what I think. I think that's going to potentially help Isaac succeed in the Red Bull because they've got similar driving styles. So if they are developing a car for Max, I think Isaac's got the best chance of recent drivers to actually do well. Okay, Shishan says, and a fun fact, guess who was the Renault team principal in 2016? Was it? Wasn't Flavio, was it, in 2016? Was it Flavio Briatore? No, of course not. It was Flavio Briatore wasn't, but 2000 that was 2004. Hey, Summer, in the chat. How you doing? Summer's up. I love that. Summer up and with us. Vasseur. All right, Max. See you soon, my friend. Oh, I'm excited. Let's see some racing. Yeah, I think give Charles a car. Just give him a damn car. And you'll see Leclerc win a World Drivers' Championship. Fred Vasseur. Jesus. You see, did you know Fred's got an aeronautical engineering degree with specialising in automotive design? And he's leading the design for that 26 car. Oh. Yeah, he's actually got an aeronautical engineering degree with the specialising in automotive engineering. So he's really leading that team of engineers for the Ferrari 26, which is why Fred's still got his job, by the way. The reason why Ferrari haven't Fred is because he has been integral to the development of the 2026 Ferrari. I mean, you know, so yeah, it's an interesting situation because they've only given him 5 races now in 26 to keep his job. Because if he's got it wrong and he's not developed a good car for 26 and he, you know, well, if he's got it wrong, basically, if he has got it wrong, they're going to get rid of him. I think they would have got rid of him this season, but it's just because of the new regulation change and he's been integral into leading the design for the 26 car. And they're scared about what happened when Enrico Cardile left, because all the engineers said, hey, we can't do anything with this 25 car. This was Enrico Cardile's car from 24. That's the platform. We're stuck with it. There's nothing we can do. And they'd be in the same situation with Fred if Fred left tomorrow. So, yeah, John Elkin said, right, Fred, you got 5 races in 26. If it's not working, then you're out. But the interesting thing about that, the conspiracy theory all goes crazy because that timing is perfect, because that means it takes you into April. And guess which team principal finishes his gardening leave in April 26? Yeah, Christian Horner. It is fascinating. Okay. Just refresh our... Here we go. Free practice will be starting shortly. 12 minutes. Just 12 minutes. That's it. Until we get to see which cars are quick. Is Oscar Piastri going to be able to be quicker than Norris? That's what we want to see in FP3. I want to see Piastri come out and be quicker than Norris. That's going to keep us all very excited. But not just 12 minutes till we see. Shitan says, I will trust Vasseur in his job, but Ferrari as a team in terms of team culture, politics overall, I have no faith. Well, I don't... See, here's the thing about... I'm not all about, like... I'm not one of those people that says, I'll sack the boss. But I think with Fred... He has let slip in a couple of interviews where he basically said about Ferrari, he said, we've changed the drivers, we've changed the team principle. There's only one thing left to change. And what he was talking about was exactly what Shitan says. It's culture at Ferrari. They've got this, their culture and tradition is holding them back. They've got engineers who are still working at Ferrari from the Schumacher days, which is fine. But you have to change with the times. Modern Formula One is different to what it was in 2004. You know, if you want to win a championship today, you need to get with the program. You need a streamlined team. You know, the teams are growing exponentially. Like, you know, Formula One teams have got like 1,000 employees. So communication between the team, efficiency is everything. Speed in delivering upgrades is everything. Engineering design is everything. Driver feedback in order to speed that process up to get it right is everything. Simulator testing is everything. And whatever's going on at Ferrari, from operationally at race weekends through to listening to the drivers and delivering them upgrades that they're asking for, to help improve the car in the ways that the drivers need the car to be improved. It's everything. And Ferrari just, they're like a dinosaur. And is it Fred's fault? Is Fred trying to change things? I don't know. Yeah, Shaitan loves a bit of Formula E, Legend. We were talking about it earlier on in the stream. Yeah, Shaitan's been following Formula E. I'm going to have to, do you know what? I will watch a race or two because I know nothing about Formula E. You know what? It's the noise. It's the noise they make. They sound like radio-controlled cars. I mean, to be fair, the noise of these 25 cars isn't much better. And the noise of the 26 car isn't much better for it in Formula One, to be honest. I like the roar of an engine. I don't like the whir of an electric motor, but maybe I'll get used to it. I know they're fast, but they sound like Stephen Hawking's wheelchair is what I think they sound like. Or a milk float. I can't get past it. And they're all fine for sounding for those functions, but in a Formula motorsport car, I don't know. I know, Shaitan, the fact that the engineers at Ferrari blame Car Deal entirely for this SF25 Ferrari car just doesn't make sense. I know, but but this is the problem at Ferrari. What you're describing here is the blame culture. That's exactly the problem at Ferrari. They're all blaming each other. No one's taking accountability. The engineers should say, yeah, we've got it wrong. You know, we haven't solved an engineering problem, which was we can't run these ride heights for when the car can perform well and still be legal on plant wear by the end of after 70-lap race. And instead of blaming each other, instead of the engineers going, don't worry, drivers, you shut your mouth, we can solve this, then it just doesn't work. And I also think if you've got engineers who are, you know, that passionate and getting that angry with Fred trackside to the point of aggression, well, you know, that engineer should be sacked. You know, there still has to be, you know, a leadership structure that people follow and are respecting that leadership. But the problem is, if you've got someone leading the team that the engineers think they know better and they're not prepared to follow his lead. And that's what's so good about Adrian Newey. If Adrian Newey comes into a team like he has done, he says, paint that component red, it'll be faster. And the engineer's going, I don't think it will. And Newey then goes, it will. You'll do it anyway because you respect what Newey has to say. And I don't think Ferrari have that respect for Fred. And I think that's the problem. Yeah, and then Shaitan says, remember what Cardiel said in his interview with Aston Martin about the cultural difference between working with Ferrari and working in Aston Martin. I mean, Cardiel said a lot of stuff, actually, and I think he was right about all of it. And I think on the positive side of that, I think what Cardiel said about Adrian Newey was really key. It's the fact that Adrian Newey, it's like talking to multiple departments at once. It's like talking to the aero department. It's like talking to the suspension department, the chassis department, all rolled into one man. And having a leader like with those credentials, I think it gives the engineers confidence that they will follow his vision. And I don't know whether people are following Fred's vision or whether Fred isn't articulating his vision in a way that's any good, because Fred's not won anything. The only person at Ferrari that has won anything is Lewis Hamilton. And, you know, and he's won drivers' titles, constructors' titles, 7 times. So, you know, I'd back Lewis if it was me. I would listen to every word that comes out of his mouth. And if that is congruent to what Fred is saying as well, then I think that's good news. But I honestly believe Ferrari, their best chance is to listen to Lewis. And actually, Charles Leclerc said something interesting to the press this week when he said that working with Lewis has improved him as a driver, because he said that Leclerc was more about the feel of the car. But now, from watching how Lewis works, Charles Leclerc is now drilling down into data making data decisions. And he said it's made him better. Charles Leclerc understands data better than ever because of what he's learning from Lewis. And Leclerc doesn't need to say this stuff. You know, he doesn't need to make this stuff up. So the fact that he's saying this, I think that if Leclerc is listening to Lewis and Fred Vasseur is listening to Lewis, doesn't it make sense that Lewis has got some valuable insights on how to improve that team? Doesn't it make sense that the team really should listen to Lewis? And, you know, and I'm not saying this as a super Lewis fan. I'm just saying this as a, you've got one winner in that team, one proven winner. So, yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, Chitan. Now we're getting into it. With Aston Martin, what remains to be the question is who will they take to do the CEO role if they do get someone. I mean, they've just recruited that guy from Red Bull in the COO role. So they've just recruited a chief operating officer from Red Bull. Still no CEO. I wonder. And everyone keeps saying, you know, Lawrence Stroll said this about Horner. If you watch any of my Horner videos, I still believe that Horner is... Yeah, Paul Field, exactly. They took Paul Field over. Thank you. I couldn't remember his name, Shaitan. Thank you. Paul Field's become the new COO. If this isn't getting the band back together from for Newey, I don't know what is. I'm getting old, Shaitan. When I'm live, I forget names all the time. Yeah, brilliant. Paul Field, thank you. And it's literally getting the band back together. So the CEO role still being available over at Aston Martin. And it was, Shaitan, it was Newey's first senior hire. Yeah, it's sea level. Yep. Yeah, that's what it was. He also brought over the guy, Shaitan will know the name because I can't remember it again because I'm live and I'm terrible at remembering names when I'm live. But he also brought in the Red Bull for the simulator, for the new simulator they've got. He brought the guy over from Red Bull for the simulator to head up the simulator program. They brought a consultant in from Ferrari as well. Who used to be Michael Schumacher's, who was one of the godfathers of the driver in loop simulator, but running the simulator program. He's from Red Bull as well. I can't remember his name, but that was someone else that's come over from Red Bull. Shaitan will know. He knows all the names. Correct me make sure you let me know in the chat. Yeah, Paul Field's been working at Red Bull as their head of production, supply chain, logistics since 2008 till this year. Yeah. So it is actually a promotion for him. Head of production, supply chain and logistics. Very important, but it is a big promotion that to become the chief operating officer over at Aston Martin. It's a promotion. But I can't remember the young lad's name. What's the young lad's name that's taken over the simulator program at Aston Martin? Somebody in the chat, remind me who it is, because he came from Red Bull as well. Giles, thank you. Giles Wood, thank you. Giles Wood, thank you. Yes, so Aston Martin took Giles Wood over from Red Bull to head up all of the driver and loop simulator program. Aston Martin. So, you know, they are cherry picking some good people. Thank you. That would have driven me mad, Shaitan. Giles Wood, thank you. When you're on a live stream, it's like every name from every team. It just goes out of your head. So that's why I'm glad we've got a community to keep me do the fact checking for me. Thank you. Yeah, Giles Wood. Yeah, so free practice restarts in just 3 minutes. I wouldn't have Aston Martin hired these guys on my bingo card at the start of the year. No. If you look at the sort of the Avengers-like team that Lawrence, and we've got to give Lawrence Stroll credit for this. He is developing like an Avengers-like team, isn't he? Over at Aston Martin. I just can't see them not delivering. I just can't see it. Yeah, if you have to join the stream, you're joining us at the right time. Free Practice 3 is about to start. we've got data, we've got a little track, we've got commentary, and we've got experts in the chat as well. So make sure you join. Let me just refresh this. Here we go. That's it. I think we're going to learn something. FP3. I think we're going to learn whether Oscar Piastri is as quick as his teammate. We're going to see some hot laps getting ready for qualifying on the soft tires. This is it. This is where we learn. This is going to be the first opportunity, I think. I mean, Lando Norris has been quickest, obviously, in practice so far. Max Verstappen said his Red Bull car is okay, not great. They need to do some work on it overnight, which I'm sure they have done. But this is it. This is where we're getting into the more of the business end, and this is where we're going to learn something. And also, we've got the wild card of the Mercedes. I think George Russell could be a real disruptor. I do. I think he could be a real disruptor in this Grand Prix and could affect the outcome. And Yuki, what about Yuki? Can Yuki find some qualifying pace to help affect the outcome? If he can qualify like P6, P7, and then stay out on, and then start the Grand Prix on the hard tyre, stay within 25 seconds of the McLarens. That way he takes track position when McLaren come in for their first pit stop. Yuki could have a big effect on this Grand Prix. Oh, it's exciting. So much could happen. I mean, you know, with Yuki, it's a bit random. Anything can happen. We could even see Yuki and Norris off track. You never know. You just never know. But we do have free practice now underway. I mean, everyone's super relaxed. I mean, I was so surprised in the driver interview with Max, Lando, and Oscar. Just all of them. Lando, I thought, was the least relaxed, to be fair. But Max was just saying, yeah, I see the trophy. Hasn't changed too much. I have 4 of them at home. If I win another one, it's just a bonus. I've achieved everything I want in Formula. He just, like, playing the mental game. He was just so relaxed with what he was saying. And Piastri looked pretty relaxed as well, to be fair. I think Lando's going to be feeling the most pressure, as you'd expect. But here we go. 56 minutes of FP3. No one's rushing to get out on track, are they? I mean, the Aston Martins have come out. Lewis Hamilton getting in the car now. Can the Ferrari find any pace? I mean, they've got a lot of work to do. Hamilton with a new helmet. Did you see Hulkenberg's helmet? Yeah, Finello. He came from Ferrari as their technical consultant for their simulator program. And like I said, Finello was the guy who was, before simulators even became a thing in Formula One, it was Finello who was one of the first guys to pioneer that technology at Ferrari. Back in, 2004 for Michael Schumacher. So he's now in there helping. He'll be working with Giles Wood on that program. So yeah, Aston Martin, they're not messing around, are they? I think the same with Audi, with the way they've aggressively gone out and got talent. I mean, they've got Binotto running things, obviously. I think the recruitment of Zimmerman and the head of performance at Ferrari, which was Schmidt, they've got those 2 guys over at Audi. Plus the German know-how that they've already got there. I think certain teams, Cadillac have not done badly. They've been recruiting heavily. Well, Cadillac, yeah, Cardeal, yeah, 100%. Cardeal brought in Finello. Yeah, that they had the relationship, didn't they? Ooh. Who will have more points? Kimi or Hamilton at the end? Let's... I mean, Kimi has hit a rich vein of form, hasn't he? And if you're talking about overall in the driver's standing, there's 2 points in it. I'd have to say Kimi Antonelli. I think Kimi Antonelli will... I just think the Mercedes is going to do okay this weekend. I think the Ferrari's going to struggle. And I think when the Ferrari's bad, I think we can all agree that for Hamilton, the impact of a bad Ferrari seems to be worse than it is for Charles Leclerc. So I would say Kimi Antonelli will finish higher in the driver's standings than Lewis Hamilton. That's what I think. That's what I think. So Lygen, Kimi says rookie, but he's got a good car though, Lygen. If you're comparing Kimi Antonelli and Isaac Hadjar, I just think the Mercedes is a better car than what Hadjar had to deal with in the Racing Bulls. So Kimi Antonelli is up there. So the three outstanding rookies, Hadjar, Behrman, again, Behrman especially for what he's done in the Haas. I mean, but Behrman sort of hit his groove again later in the season. Kimi Antonelli was pretty good at the beginning of the season, getting that podium in Canada, then just dropped off the pace. And I think you can only compare your drivers by the teammate. Now, Kimi has recently shown some improvement in performance where he has arguably been better than George Russell for at least 2 Grand Prix out of the last 3. So I think Kimi's showing he is the real deal. But is he driver rookie of the season? I can't give it to him. I think it's Hadjar. My order for rookie of the season would be Hadjar, Behrman, because Behrman is taking Esteban Ocon to school. And Esteban Ocon's not a slow driver. He's an experienced F1 driver. He's a quick driver. And Behrman performing better than him. So, yeah, I would say my top 3 for rookies is Hadjar, Behrman, Kimi. That's how I would vote it. Yeah, Chitan says, if you didn't realise, both Zimmerman and Schmidt reunite with Binotto at Audi. All 3 ex-Ferrari guys. Yeah, exactly. And it's the timing of Zimmerman and Schmidt leaving that I find interesting. Because they leave at a time when Zimmerman is heading up the power unit development. Why would you leave before you see your power unit in a car, on a grid, in a Ferrari? You've got to have your reservations that the Ferrari power unit or just the chassis or the car in general is not going to be good in 26. So that's what I think. I think it's telling. And Binotto's no fool. I like Binotto. I think he was making good strides at Ferrari. I mean, Ferrari was in better shape under Binotto than it is under Fred Vasseur, right? I think we can agree that. Chitan says you can't compare Antonelli and Hadjar this year because Antonelli's in a good car. But Antonelli has done a decent job, to be really honest. He's potentially one of the future young prospects. So I agree. I think Antonelli is looking like the real deal as an F1 driver. I do agree. Hadjar is a different kind of young beast. I agree with that. And it's going to be interesting to see how he does in a more quicker car. I agree with that. Hadjar's rougher, isn't he? He's got a rougher edge to him. He's got a more aggressive feel about him compared to Kimi Antonelli. Kimi Antonelli's got a good consistency. He's smooth. He's precise. Hadjar's got sort of... He's got a fire, I think, that I'm not seeing in Kimi Antonelli yet. So let's have a quick look at these timings. So everyone coming out now. Colapinto out on track. Gasly out on track. 50 minutes of this FP3. I would be wondering why we're not seeing drivers wanting to maximize this track time. I mean, especially Piastri. He's not really had any pace. He's not shown any pace. He missed FP1 because Pato O'Ward was out in his car. I don't know why they're not coming out. You got Lando Norris sat in the car. Maybe it's because they just want to do short stints, qualifying runs. I mean, Gasly's quickest of all so far. But still waiting for the right time to come out on track. We can see Lando and Oscar sat in the garage. Come on, we want to see who's got pace. Is this a game where nobody wants to show how much pace they've actually got? Max Verstappen's the master at that. He sandbags and all of a sudden in qualifying he pops up with a with a pole position performance. So Shaitan says, I think Ferrari's 26 engine power unit still will be decent, but their reliability is where they have some doubts. So you think they're going to be quick, but its reliability is what we don't know. Could be. I mean, Ferraris are known for engines, aren't they? I mean, Ferraris. What was Enzo's quote? You're paying for the engine, we give you the car for free, right? You know, Ferrari's always been about the engine. Shaitan also would be interested in to see how Behrman and Bortoleto perform if they do get seats from top teams in the future. Apparently, Ferrari like Bortoleto also. Yeah, apparently Ferrari are Bortoleto fans. Hey, Daily Focus. Nice and warm in my cinema room watching F1. I was left the heater on high by accident, but it's all good. Yeah, I love that. Get cozy, get warm, get your mug of tea or coffee and settle in for FP3, but then get very excited because it's all about qualifying. Qualifying's going to be, it is going to be exciting for everybody. It's the neutral. Daily Focus left his heater on all night. I think 30 degrees is too much. A nice 20-degree temperature. That's what I like in my little studio. A nice 20-degree temperature. I hope you can't hear that. I've just put my I've actually put my heater on for a little blast. Legend says crash test passed. Ferrari's reported to have successfully passed their mandate. Yeah, I saw that. I don't know why. I don't really think you want to pass your crash test at the first time of asking, because weight, the 26 car, weight is everything. It's going to be vital. And if you've passed your crash test at the first time of asking, that means your car probably could have been made a little bit lighter. You know, what you want to do is fail your crash test. You want to fail your crash test because the car's too light, it's not strong enough, and then do a second crash test or third to make it strong enough, because it's about weight. And the fact that Ferrari passed it at the first time of asking is actually, for me, a concern that Ferrari might be a bit of a elephant, a bit heavy. That's what I think. But you're right, they did pass the crash test. Yeah, exactly, Shaitan. People pass the crash test late because the car, they're trying to make it the lightest car they can. So you don't want to pass it early doors. Because there you go, there's your car. Yeah. Unless they're going to cheat. Unless they've got a cheating scam that I don't know about. But yeah, you don't want to pass your crash test too early, especially when weight is going to be so important. Oh, we do have a McLaren out on track. Norris, fastest first sector, fastest second sector. He's on the softs. We've got Leclerc out on track. Now we're going to hopefully get to start seeing how quick the teams are Do they have good qualifying pace? Norris gone P1 as expected. Piastri still in the pits. It's in a 124.7. That's not quick enough. I think we're going to see those times drop. So Leclerc's out on track. 124.7 is Norris's time. Not good. Leclerc's a second off that pace, and he is on the softs as well. That's a big gap at this early stage in FP3 between the McLarens and the Ferraris. Yeah, so Lando Norris can go quicker for sure. Twitchy rear end, slight lock up. These times are going to plummet. And towards the end of the session, we're going to see just how quick these cars are. So Alpine have passed the crash test as well. Well, they need a very strong car. Weight's not going to be their issue. They've got Colapinto driving it. So that car better pass the crash test. They need to worry less about weight and more about strength, because that car's going to end up in the wall. Sorry, Franco, I'm only teasing. I'm only teasing. I'm sure you'll have a better car in 26. I want you to prove me wrong, because I actually quite like him. I think he's quite cool. Old Franco Colapinto. I do. Oh, actually, I'll tell you this. Sorry, what is going on my stream? Yeah, so Lando Norris, who's put out the quickest lap so far. Max Verstappen still sat in the pits. What? I mean, you've got 40 minutes left to get that car set up right for qualifying. Surely Max wants to start getting some data. Like, what is your pace comparative to McLaren's right now? You've got time to still make tweaks to the car. This 40 minutes is vital. I don't know why Max is still in the pits. Get out there, son. Daily Focus. What you're watching on a 100-inch telly? Excellent. Excellent. It's like watching in a cinema. Themma. Good to see you there. I wish, it's quite a long stream this one. I wish I had made a flask of coffee. Run out of coffee, got no one to make me one. I need a little, I should have brought a flask up so I could top. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a flask of coffee for when we're on a little bit later for the, for qualifying. Because I want a bit of build up. I want us to get on the stream early. I want us to discuss what's going on. I want to get the excitement going for qualifying. Yes, Emma says, very vital. Hopefully the car is okay, but maybe waiting for more rubber to be laid down. Yeah, that's true. The evolution of the track is going to happen. But if no one's out there putting rubber down, they're all going to come out for the last 10 minutes. And there's going to be so much congestion and traffic. I think there's a lot to be said about having a clear track, clean air. I think you get some good data. Well, yeah, the track will get quicker, but if everyone comes out at the same time, if I was Piastri, I'd want to get some laps in. Because Piastri missed all of FP1. He's out on track now, though. Yuki Tsunoda's gone fastest. First sector and second sector. Go on, Yuki. Put in P2. Go on, Yuki. Listen, Yuki's last race for a while, so I'm rooting for Yuki. Go on, Yuki. Get up there, son. So Daily Focus got 100-inch 720 projector with 4K F1 TV. Oh, I'm jealous. Yes, Kyle. Kyle's up at 4:50 in the morning. So glad you're joining us for the stream, buddy. You're just getting into the business end. You've not missed anything, actually. We've had some great chats, loads of banter in the chat. But Oscar Piastri's only just come out on track. Literally just now. Max still to come out on track. So good. But listen, you're going to be here for the business end, qualifying in a couple of hours. It's all going to be going on. Yes, Emma's right. Yuki needs to back Max this race. Qualifying is crucial for him. It is. And the fact that we're seeing a little bit of pace, he's only 1.5 tenths behind Norris at the moment. I mean, Yuki's showing some decent pace. Could you imagine if now Yuki gets Max's setup, Max's car, and because they need a good qualifying performance, and all of a sudden we see Yuki like put the car P4. I don't know. Conspiracy theories everywhere. So Piastri's up. Piastri is 2 tenths, running 2 tenths slower than Norris at the moment. Oh no, sorry, 2 tenths slower than Tsunoda at the moment. Hamilton's up there with a P4 in that Ferrari. With the 125.1, Leclerc's gone faster. P2. Behrman's putting a lap. Behrman's been saying how good this Haas is all weekend. And look at that. Behrman's putting a P2. This is great. Daily Focus says, I can only watch P3 today as I'm going out to watch the footy at the stadium and doing college work this evening and then a movie after dinner. You got a busy day, Daily Focus. So you can't watch qualifying. Qualifying for the last race, the decider in the desert. You can't miss qualifying, Daily Focus. I do love watching the footy as well, but come on. This is it. This is decider in the desert. Oh, so Chitan says Alonso's out on hard tyres. He is out on hard tyres. P10. Lance Stroll's up. P7. Now, the one we might see Alonso starting off on the hard tyre. Yes, Daily Focus. Keep a check on the phone, the F1 app. Keep up to date. Qualifying's going to get very exciting. No, Chitan. Alonso is out on the hard tyre. Our data is correct. He's obviously trying to get some data to see whether it's worth starting the race on the hard tyre. Maybe go for a one stop. That's interesting. Could be a good move for Alonso. Yeah. Well, I've not seen what is going on with Verstappen right now. He's on his outlap. So Verstappen joining the track now with 35 minutes of FP3. He's on his first lap now, on his first hot lap. Let's see. Let's see what Max's pace is like. Behrman, though, is putting a good lap there in that Haas P2. 800ths behind Norris. That's all. Behrman. Oh, Verstappen's gone fastest in the first sector. Hamilton snuck in a P1 lap there on the soft tyre. 600ths quicker than Norris. Leclerc says the speed is so much better now on the team radio. What have they done to that car? I reckon they messed around with ride heights. I agree, Shitan. The fact that Alonso's still in the mix for P10 of the drivers. It's crazy. He's had 5 DNFs. A lot of bad luck. You got to watch Alonso next season, I'm telling you. He might be 45 next season, but he's doing it for the 40-somethings. Putting some laps in. Might even win the World Drivers' Championship. Come on, Alonso. I'm here for it. Verstappen, though, fastest. Second, he's gone P1. Stroll with a P2 lap, by the way. Lance Stroll showing some pace in the Aston. Could you imagine Lance Stroll puts in a fantastic qualifying performance? He becomes a disruptor for this decider in the desert. And Lance Stroll is, if he's up there in like the mix, 3rd row, 4th row of the grid, anything could happen. Lydon getting excited about Ferrari. All of a sudden showing some pace. Yeah, it will help. Exactly. If Lance Stroll can show some pace comparatively to Alonso and get through to Q3, you know, these things can change things. I mean, for Aston, really, for Adrian Newey, does he really want less wind tunnel time? I think Adrian Newey wants more wind tunnel time. So yes, the extra 10 million or so they get from, you know, finishing higher in the constructors, that it's not worth as much as the development time for the 26 car. I don't think it is. Yeah, Shitan, more wind tunnel time because they've already got the money. I agree. But they're playing the game differently by the looks of it. You know, they are obviously trying to give Stroll and Alonso the best setup they can to be competitive here. I mean, Lance Stroll up in P2, it's not even raining. And we know he's good in the rain. Yeah, 12 points to the big gap. Let me just refresh my team standings. So you got Aston Martin on 80 points, Racing Bulls on 92 points, Haas on 73 points. I mean, really, looking at that Haas of Behrman, you know, there's a chance that even Haas could nick P7 from Aston if it doesn't go right for them in the race. Oh, we're so close to 4,000 subscribers now. We're at 9,000. We're at 3,949. 50 more and we hit that 4K. Oh, I hope we do it. I hope we hit 4K over this weekend. I'll be so pleased. So if you are watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. We're nearly at 4,000. Be part of something amazing. This community is the best, I promise you. Such a great bunch. Well, yeah, and if you like the stream, please. That'll be really cool. The midfield, Chitan, you're right, is so close. I mean, it's one of the closest midfields we've had for a while. Liam Lawson moaning about Esteban Ocon there. Esteban Ocon, who has been slowed down in practice. I think there's going to be some shenanigans in practice. There's some drivers who are slowing down to try and create the space they want for a hot lap, but they're sitting on the racing line, affecting other people's drives. So Verstappen, fastest of all at the moment. Hamilton, quicker than Leclerc at the moment. So Alonso helped Aston Martin to put themselves in a better position for P7 in Qatar, but maintaining P7 is possible. It is. I actually think the midfield teams, depending on what happens in this Grand Prix, there definitely could be some movement. Aston Martin could go up or down. Haas could improve. Racing Bulls, I think, are looking pretty strong though. because I think, well, not at the moment, comparatively to Haas and Behrman. But where's Esteban Ocon in these lap times? I mean, Behrman faster than Ocon, quicker than Ocon every Grand Prix the second half of this season. Daily Focus. I've not had any breakfast yet. I've done it. I've tried an intermittent fast. I'm starving. I'm going to get a big lunch though. As soon as this stream finishes, in between FP3 and qualifying, I'm going to have some chicken wings. I'm going to go straight in for some brunch. Oh! There's been an accident. Hamilton's gone off. Hamilton's crashed his car. Red flag. Hamilton showing some great pace. Really driving that Ferrari on the ragged edge. But he's put it in the wall. Turn 9. He's okay. But that car's going to need to be rebuilt now. That's the end of free practice for Hamilton. Let's watch it now. So he's quick, making down, coming to turn 9. Looks fine. Looks fine. Oh, what happened there? I doesn't make any sense. It just stepped out the rear end coming into. He's loose coming into turn 9, but yeah, the back end just stepped out from him. Something buckled at the front and snapped the rear, is what Hamilton says. Something buckled at the front and snapped the rear. Really driving that Ferrari on the ragged edge. Hamilton, that's his free practice over for sure. It looks, the car is going to be fine. It doesn't look like a difficult rebuild for the Ferrari, I don't think. The damage looks to be the front wing, possibly some suspension damage. I think he would have liked more time, but on the positive for Hamilton was he was really getting some pace out of the Ferrari. I think he's going to go for it. He's going to risk it for a biscuit in qualifying, that's for sure. Yes, Emma. Qualifying is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Everyone is just... It's going to be crazy. I mean, we've got the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll showing some pace. We've got the Haas showing some pace. Ferrari showing some pace. The only person not showing any pace at the moment that we want to be showing pace is Oscar Piastri. I mean, what's gone on with Oscar's car? Both McLarens actually are looking like, at the moment... I mean, this is great for the championship, really, but both McLarens looking like they need to find some qualifying pace. Not good on the soft so far. And with that red flag and free practice clock ticking down, 25 minutes left. There's not going to be a lot of time for the drivers to show some good pace. McLaren, in fact, this is actually a disaster. Actually, a disaster for McLaren at the moment. Well, Shaitan, do I think it will affect Lewis's confidence? No, I don't. I think Lewis will come out. I think he'll push. I think he'll push just as hard. I think Lewis is going to push that Ferrari to the ragged edge, is what I think. Last race. Yes, Mark, he's back. Good time to get back as well. Final 20 minutes. or final 24 minutes of free practice, and you've rejoined at a time where Hamilton's had an accident. He's crashed the car, red flag currently out, while they recover Hamilton's car, and the clock is still ticking. This is just, honestly, for everybody, Hamilton crashing the car when a lot of drivers have waited until the second half of this free practice session to come out and get their laps in. He's affecting everybody here. McLaren, as you can see from the data on your screen, I mean, McLaren not showing enough pace. Piastri is currently running P15. Norris P6. Verstappen, though, looks like it's all going to plan. Fastest man on track. P1 performance. I mean, that's crazy times. Behrman and Stroll pretty darn happy right now. Lance Stroll. He was my prediction for dipstick of the weekend as well. Knob of the day, Hamilton. I know, Mark. The timing of this is so bad because the clock keeps ticking. I don't know how I feel about that, though. I think when you have red flag conditions in free practice 3, it can affect every driver on the grid. Because what this means is there could be carnage. As soon as they've cleared Hamilton's car and everyone's back out, I'm expecting carnage. So I'm interested to see what Anthony Davidson's got to say. He's analysing Lewis's crash right now. So he's blaming the dirty air as Hamilton goes into turn 9. Hamilton takes some of the curb on the straight coming into turn 9. But everyone's doing that. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. It hasn't destabilized the car. No, I don't think. I'm watching the coverage. Hamilton said the front seemed to dip and he lost the rear end. There was no. The front end was rigid. There was no dipping. He's just gone into turn 9 too quick. He's just overcooked it. And look, I want to see Lewis's hands. Let's see what his hands are doing. So the car is grounding out. We're seeing sparks from the skid from the plank underneath Lewis's car. And then the rear end just looks a little loose. He's come off the curb on the right from the straight, hits the apex of turn 9. The rear does look a little loose. So they're doing a comparison with Leclerc. He's using the curb coming into turn 9 on the straight. Yeah, the car, Mark, is not that bad. It's a front wing. possibly a little bit of front suspension, but the car is repairable. The car will be absolutely fine by qualifying. It's not, from what I could tell from the damage, not that bad. It's definitely a front wing, maybe a little bit of front suspension. Yeah, definitely front suspensions. Front right suspensions totaled. Doesn't seem to be any. I'm looking at it. They've got it on screen right now. Very repairable, I would say. The mechanics have got a little bit of a job to do, but very repairable. Yeah, he'll be back. He'll be back in qualifying, no problem. He'll be just pissed off that he can't get any more laps in, because Hamilton was showing good. Yeah, I mean, Hamilton was showing some good pace before that. He was quicker than he was quicker than Leclerc. He would have liked this last 20 minutes on track though. So yellow flag conditions now. On track. All drivers itching to get back out there. Because the fighting to get out. Because every driver pretty much left it till when there was only 30 minutes left of free practice 3. Which meant now everyone's trying to get the laps in about 18 minutes. It's going to cause congestion, dirty air, carnage. It's going to affect these qualifying runs. It's a terrible outcome for Lewis because he's going to be guessing a little bit going into qualifying. It's not the time you want to put the car in the wall, FP3. I think we can all agree on that. Verstappen, though, he won't be phased. Cool as a cucumber. Fastest of all at the moment. Lance Stroll, second fastest of all. And Behrman, third fastest right now. I think Lewis is going to go out with a. He will be putting. I don't think it'll affect Lewis. I don't think he'll slow down. I think he'll push that car to the limit. Semmer says toast. Hamilton gets dipstick of the day. Do you know what's funny? My dipstick of the day prediction was Lance Stroll. Look at where he is right now. Look at Lance Stroll right now. P2. Second quickest. I know. Did he take a shortcut, Mark says. Adrian Newey's been fettling with Lance's car. It's the Newey effect. He's done some work on Lance Stroll's car, possibly. Made it better. Considering Adrian Newey famously said, I'm not touching the AM25. It's not my department. So the AMR25. The AMR26 is what it's all about. But yeah, Stroll P2. And he's not had his time just taken away from him for exceeding track limits. He's actually second quickest right now. I'm here for it. So, Albon out on the medium tyre now. So we've got an incident. Alexander Albon he's been noted for an unsafe release. So just 15 minutes now. 6 laps, maybe. If you've got to come in and get a change, you want to be out on the soft. I mean, Verstappen might get. I don't know, maybe how much running is he going to do? 15 minutes. I mean, this is the closest you're going to get to qualifying conditions. Track temperature, rubber, soft tyres. This is where you want to see, do you have the qualifying pace or not? And Hamilton, unfortunately, doesn't get that. That is a big disadvantage for him. And Piastri needs to put a time in. Mark says, got to give Newey credit if that's true. Yeah, talking about if Newey's fettled with Lance Stroll's car. But it does take the driver to get the most from the changes. Respect to Stroll. Did I just say that publicly? I know. Exactly. We always got to give credit where it's due. Let's see where he finishes. Let's see where he finishes FP3. And then, of course, it's all about qualifying. Let's see if Lance Stroll can get that Aston Martin through to Q3. Credit to him. Credit to him. So Ollie Behrman's on a hot lap. And he's not quite as quick as Verstappen. Russell's on a hot... Everyone's coming out on a hot lap now. Yellow flag. It's gone. Yeah, Fernando Alonso currently P15, but he's been out on the hards. Fernando doing some interesting research on the hard tyre. I think Fernando's got a sneaky one-stop strategy up his sleeve for the Aston Martin. So he's been out there getting deltas for the hard tyre when everyone else has been out on the softs and the mediums. So yeah, Alonso has got something up his sleeve. Verstappen, still quickest, P1. You know what? Yuki Tsunoda just did the quickest second sector of anybody and then aborted his lap. Piastri, now on a hot lap, quickest in the first sector. On. He did not take the curb like Hamilton did. Quickest in the second sector for Piastri. Okay. Game on. Game on, Piastri. Lando Norris didn't really help him out there. Positioning his car sort of in the middle of the track. He's gone fastest. 123.5. That's half a second quicker than Verstappen. Piastri with a good hot lap there. Setting the benchmark now for the rest of the grid. 5/10 quicker than Verstappen. But Norris now on a hot lap. And he is slower than Piastri. Okay. Game on. Game on for the McLaren boys. Come on. I want Oscar to out-qualify Norris. That's what I want. I think it makes for a more interesting race for us, right? Yeah, Mark. And Alonso's got something up his sleeve. Definitely got something up his sleeve. Norris is on a hot lap now, but he is slower than Piastri by 600ths. It's a quick lap comparatively to everyone else. Can he find the time in the third sector? Can he gain time in this final sector? Piastri's a 123.5. Norris goes quicker. A 123.3, finding the time in the final sector of the lap to make a... Wow. Yeah, Alonso's now out on softs. Alonso needs to get a run in on the softs because he needs to find out if he can put a qualifying performance in. So, Lance Stroll still P4. Hulkenberg's put the quickest second sector in out of anybody. In a Sauber. Go on, Hulk. Show us what you've got, son. He's gone P3. He's gone P3. Just under 3/10 slower. What? We're hearing that Kimi Antonelli has hit Yuki Tsunoda in the pit lane. Wow. I haven't seen the footage, but Kimi Antonelli hit Yuki Tsunoda in the pit lane as they were both trying to come out for their final stint in FP3. That's actually catastrophic for Yuki and Antonelli. Catastrophic for both drivers wanting to get their hot laps in under these conditions to be prepared for qualifying. Yuki Tsunoda and Kimi Antonelli, well, I want to see the footage. What happened? An accident in the pit lane. Yeah, Mark, it's a massive disadvantage for Hamilton to not get a run, a final run in FP3 because they haven't dialed in the setup, obviously, with him. So Antonelli is going to be investigated for the accident with Yuki Tsunoda for an unsafe release. Alonso now on the soft tyre has put the fastest time of all in Sector 1. That Aston Martin showing some pace here. Lost time in the second sector for Fernando Alonso, but still looking good. If he can put it somewhere in between the McLarens, he'll be very pleased. Can he make up the time in the final sector? Alonso, P4. The Aston Martin looking decent for pace, for qualifying pace. I mean, Alonso, both Aston Martins looking like they could make it through to Q3 if they keep this pace up. But psychologically, Norris is winning the war against Piastri. That psychological war that Norris is still quickest of all. Giving him that confidence going into qualifying. We would really like to see Piastri quicker than Norris to give Norris that psychological advantage going into qualifying. Verstappen, though, where is he? P8. He's going to get maybe one, maybe two hot laps. That's it. Verstappen's going to need to show some pace. Esteban Ocon showing some pace in the Haas. Oh, there's the accident. Yeah. So Yuki Tsunoda comes out of his pit clean. Visor comes down. Hitting the side by Kimi Antonelli. Kimi Antonelli getting damage on his side pod. Oh, unsafe release. So bad. Pit error. A pit. They released him. Not even. I don't even think it's Kimi Antonelli's fault. Mercedes released him. Unsafe release for sure. Costing Yuki Tsunoda dearly though. If it's damaged. Russell's gone P1. I told you Russell's going to be the disruptor. I told you, watch out for the Mercedes. He's going to be the disruptor in this World Driver Championship Challenge. Verstappen could only manage P3. Yeah, I agree, Stan. Anyone could get knocked out in Q1 later. This is going to be the most exciting qualifying session we've had all year. Pressure's now on for everyone at Mercedes. Unsafe release. What's Q1, 2, 3 going to bring us? Exactly, Mark. Honestly, this is going to be the most exciting qualifying we've had all season. You don't want to miss it. So qualifying at 2 o'clock today. So we will be live from 1:30 for the build up for that. We'll be doing our watch long. So 1:30 GMT. Qualifying starts at 2. There'll be a lot to discuss as well after this session. Oh, the damage on Antonelli's car. He's ruined his front wing. We will not see Antonelli back out in this session, which is a big disadvantage. He didn't manage to get a hot lap in. Whereas you can see George Russell showing some incredible pace in the Mercedes. Mercedes are going to be the disruptor. I can feel it. They're going to play a part. Mercedes are going to play a part in this World Driver Championship. I'm telling you they are. Midfield's going to be super tight. Yeah, it is. And that first corner, I can see a mistake from somebody. So Verstappen's basically complaining that that Red Bull is bouncing, porpoising, making it difficult for Verstappen to keep his feet on the pedals. What have they done to that suspension? Made it super rigid, I guess. In order to run the car lower, the car's got to be harder. And if that can create bouncing, and maybe that's what Red Bull have done, they are running the car super low and they've made the car super hard from a suspension point of view. And maybe that's causing Verstappen's bouncing that he's complaining about. But if you can deal with the bouncing, the car should be quicker. So if the driver can manage that, if Verstappen can manage that, you know, difficult to drive, but it could make the car quicker. Yeah, Daily Focus is having full cinema surround sound to enjoy the F1 experience. Love that. Mark Reeve says, I've got a works Christmas do later. I'm thinking of throwing a sickie. Oh, no. Well, will you not be able to watch the qualifying and then go to your works Christmas do? You don't want to be the first one there. Qualifying will be over by 3 o'clock. Just go a little later. You know, nobody wants to be the first to arrive, Mark. Get to your Christmas do about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Get ready before the qualifying. Soon as qualifying's finished, head out. You'll still make it. Everyone's on the softs. George Russell, fastest of all. Lewis Hamilton watching the monitors, watching the data, seeing if he can pick up something. But both of those Haas, P5, P6, that's incredible. Leclerc can only manage a P7 with his pace. We'll see everyone's final hot laps. Yeah, just be late for your works do, Mark. Watch qualifying, just turn up late. You know, say your dog was ill. Or tell them the truth. Tell them you're watching F1 Grandstand and the Formula One qualifying. Alonso up to P4, Shaitan. Exactly. Find a cupboard to hide in, Mark. You're good at that. Brilliant. He is making the difference, this car again, Shaitan. Alonso showing the pace. And this is interesting Because what this means for Alonso is showing good qualifying pace. And then if he does decide to start the Grand Prix on the hard tyre and he goes for a one-stop strategy, it could be fascinating. It could be the right one for him. He was getting all that data, wasn't he, from the hard tyre? Is it feasible? Would it be quicker to stay on the hard tyre and sacrifice performance for the first half of the Grand Prix and go for a one-stop? I don't know. It could be genius from Alonso. There could be something cooking here for Aston Martin. They'll definitely be retaining track position over the guys on the medium tyre. So Piastri could only manage a P5. Norris P2. But Verstappen still on a hot lap. I don't think it's going to be good enough. Russell showing that the Mercedes has got the pace. Verstappen could only manage P3. That was 1.2. So, a tenth slower than the McLaren. Will he be worried about that? Maybe. Alonso, fourth fastest. Anyone else still on the hot lap? Not that I can see. Yeah. Sainz still on a lap. Ocon still on a lap. No, that's it. That is it. George Russell in the Mercedes. Fastest of all. I told you George Russell is going to be the disruptor in this. George Russell is the wild card that could affect everything for the World Drivers' Championship. I'm here for it. Norris P2, Verstappen P3, Alonso with a fantastic P4, Piastri P5 needs to find some pace. Ocon, those Haas cars. Well, what about them? P6, P7, Leclerc only down in P8, Antonelli P9. Obviously suffered that accident with Yuki in the pit lane, which meant that Antonelli couldn't really get a good hot lap in. Albon, Bortoleto, Sainz, Hulkenberg, Stroll, Lawson, Hadjar, Gasly, Hamilton with that accident in FP3 halfway through. Didn't get to do any hot laps really. Colapinto and Tsunoda suffering from that accident with Kimi Antonelli in the pit lane. Oh my God, this is shaping up to be a brilliant qualifying session. It's going to be awesome. Shaitan says, Mark says, I'll ask the pub to put your YouTube channel on. Yes, brilliant. Do that 100%. See if you can get it on the big screen. That'll be awesome. Shaitan, last year here in Abu Dhabi, the AMR 24 was such a mediocre car, and Alonso still managed to get into Q3, also finished P9 in the race. Of course, Russell has to be the one that could disrupt this championship fight. I know. Oh God, it's getting so exciting. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back a little early. I'll be back on at 1:30. Qualifying will start at 2 o'clock. Join us when you can. We'll have some good chat before qualifying starts. We're going to get excited. And yes, Emma, go George. This is going to be a brilliant one. You do not want to miss qualifying in Abu Dhabi. And if you've been watching the show, thank you so much for enjoying the stream. Smash a like on it if you've enjoyed it. And I'll see you at 1:30. Don't you dare miss it. I'll see you all then. See you very soon.